I've cut out me going back to Viridian and catching our first Pokemon because that's how I roll. If you go west of Viridian City, you'll find yourself on the route to the Indigo Plateau, where only the most elite trainers may enter. With all the small birds and rodents I've slaughtered just to get here, I'd say we're a shoo-in for this club of groovy elites. As we stroll our merry asses to the Plateau of Purple, we're ambushed by one of the dancers from the Village People, I mean Moogle, who politely tells us that we're not worth the air that we breathe, and we should probably just kill ourselves while we're ahead. Fortunately for us, I don't take no shit for some jive turkey, so let's beat the stuffing out of him. Longquisha, get the switch. We got us a white boy to beat. Mm-hmm. It seems Moogle has only managed to catch a Pidgey since we've last seen him. I suppose this isn't too damnable, considering all I caught since then was this adorable bunny I named Old Greg. Isn't he cute? Unfortunately for Greg, his scaly mangina is no match for the Pidgey extraordinaire, so we'll have to rely on Glider for the rest of the fight. Alright, Glider, now it doesn't matter if you win or lose, unless you want Daddy's love, then you fucking win, you piece of shit. Before we can celebrate our victory over our soon-to-be dinner, Moogle sends out Squirtle. Now Squirtle's defense is really high, but his special isn't too impressive, so if we hit him with a special type move like Ember, it should do more damage. Right? Shit. Things look dire for our reptilian representative as he takes a huge blow, suffering the might of Squirtle's devastating bubble attack. Look out, Glider, the suds will consume your flesh! Fortunately for us, Moogle seems to think that using Tail Whip on us will make his Suds of Doom do more damage. The flaw in his logic is that Water-type moves are special-based, so lowering my physical defense won't do a damn thing. Pokemon 101. Suck it, Moogle. A critical hit ensures our victory if the sassy Squirtle will continue its strategy of fail. Huzzah! Our second victory over a Pokemon with a clearly superior type. Things are looking good for us. Moogle claims that we lucked out in our match against him. Normally I would have a witty retort to his being a sore loser, but I'm actually obliged to agree with him because when I was recording this, I was starting to shit bricks as soon as Ember didn't work. Our aggravated adversary tells us that we're not ready to enter the Indigo Plateau, but I'll show him that we have what it takes. Nothing is going to stop us from... Oh. Back on track. It's time to head into Viridian Forest, just up ahead. We'll be ignoring the blundering old man who wants to teach us how to catch Pokemon because we already know how to. In fact, we're so good at it, we could probably catch people. We just don't because that's probably highly illegal. We can catch more Pokemon in this patch of grass, but we won't, because we're better than that. Well, I am. This young man came here with his friends in hopes of having a massive orgy. However, it seems that all they wanted to do was battle, and have since left him to die. How tragic. I'll now cut to a map of the forest and how to get out of here. Now, I know it's as hard as my dick while watching Sailor Moon to see it, but there's a greenish line that tells you how to get through the forest. There's a required battle, so I'll be showing that next. With that vulgarity out of the way, on the final stretch of the forest, this bug catcher queries us on the nature of our rapid retreat from the forest. The answer is, of course, that we'd rather not look at his ugly mug for any longer than we have to. Off-screen, I caught a Pikachu and named it Jessie. She'll be the third member of our party, and the resident bird killer. I know that genders weren't introduced until Gold and Silver, but I like to think that they have genders anyway, because I'm sad like that. Adorable. Guess what I taught her to do? Jessie, me love you long time. Haha! Peak orgasms. Give it up for Jessie, the orgasming Pikachu. Yay! Even though it looks like you're about to fall into an endless void of nothingness, we're actually leaving Viridian Forest. At the checkpoint, this old man hints at the most annoying obstacles in this game. We'll get to that in a bit, but first, we have to give this boy over here some banana juice for undressing us with his eyes. It's what he deserves, after all. It's because he made me feel pretty. Way back when, I used to imagine that this patch of grass before Pewter City was farmland. I can't tell you why, it just looked fitting. Welcome to Pewter City, hometown of rocks, rocks, and more rocks. If you want rocks, you've come to the right place. Want to know why? Because Pewter City rocks. But Tish. Thank you very much, I'll be here all week. We have plenty of Pokemon to showcase today. The first of which are the Nidorans. You have Nidoran male and female, both of which are poison types and have very similar evolutionary lines. The main difference between the two is that the males have more offensive stats than the females, and the females have more defensive stats than the males. These are really nifty Pokemon to have, and Nidoking and Nidoqueen are very powerful throughout the game. I highly recommend either to anyone who's missing a powerhouse Pokemon in their team. Next, we have Mankey. I'm not sure if you can get one in red and blue this early, but you definitely can in yellow. Mankeys are fairly interesting fighting types in that they're also fairly fast. In fact, they're the fastest fighting types in this game. So, if you want a fighting type that can do some real damage before your opponent can, then these are the way to go. Honestly, I'm not really one for fighting types, but I can definitely see the utility these things have this early on in the game if you don't want to wait for a Machop. Next up is Spearow. Spearow is very fast and very strong, much more so than its rival Pidgey. Fearow, even though it's only a second form evolution, can easily out-attack and possibly outspeed a Pidgeot, which is the third form evolution. However, it comes at a price of fragile defenses and HP. It won't take very many hits, but it might kill its foe before it has the chance to do any real damage. There's also the added bonus that Fearow learn more flying type moves faster than the Pidgey evolutionary line, so if you're not willing to wait for Pidgey to learn Wing Attack, which it learns fairly late in the game, then Spearow's the way to go. Caterpie is a fan-favorite bug-type Pokemon, as it was prominently featured in the anime. It only learns two moves, Tackle and String Shot, which are fairly useless. Once it evolves into Metapod, it gains the move Harden, which isn't as useless as String Shot. It will then evolve into Butterfree, which is a pretty interesting Pokemon. It has the ability to learn Psychic-type moves, but lacks any real stats to either utilize them or stay alive for very long. It's a shame, but bug Pokemon outside of Scyther and Pinsir in this game just aren't really built to last. Something else to mention is that bug Pokemon evolve fairly fast if they evolve. For example, the Caterpie and Weedle evolutionary lines evolve at level 7 and level 10 for both their forms. So if you want something that evolves quickly, then these will tide you over until you can get a better one. Then we have the Weedle family. Weedle is a bug poison type and is essentially the poison variant of Caterpie. It evolves into Kakuna and learns Harden, just like Metapod, and then evolves into Beedrill. Again, bug Pokemon aren't very impressive in this game, so I can't really recommend them, even if their designs are really good. Last, but certainly not least, we have Pikachu. Pikachu is the first Electric-type Pokemon you can encounter in the game, as well as one of the best in my opinion once it evolves into a Raichu. Pikachu is very fast and has decent attacking stats for this part of the game as well. However, it should be evolved into a Raichu as soon as you had it learn all of the moves you want it to learn from leveling up, as it will be outclassed fairly fast until then. Its last useful move it can learn from leveling up is Thunder at level 41, and you can just use the TM to have it learn it later on. I seriously recommend just using a Thunderstone on a Pikachu ASAP, because you can just teach it its useful moves through TMs.